Alright guys, I'm going to make a video. I got some new sights for my Ruger Mark II. This is my 6 7/8 inch barrel Ruger Mark II. It's the, what do you call it, government target model, somewhere here. It says government, I don't know if I can get that in there, I'm going to try. Here, if you can read it, I think maybe if I move it. Anyhow, it's a great gun, love it, enjoy using it. This is not loaded. Sights are good, okay, but one of the things I have a problem with is they just don't have that contrast that I'd like to have, and it's the one thing I wanted to do. So I was looking into some different fiber optic sights, something that's going to give it more contrast visibility. And there are a lot of them out there. These are the ones I went with. It's the company by the name of Williams Fire Sights. I got them at the Ruger store. A couple other places have them as well. I think all done and said, shipping and everything was a little over $70. So not a cheap upgrade, but I'm hoping that, you know, they just make the gun a little bit more enjoyable, and that's the goal. So the first thing I see on here it is. Professional installation recommended. You know, so I'm like, well, gee, I'm a professional. I should have no problem, right? Went online. I didn't really see a whole lot of... One guy actually tried to attempt to show how to do this, and then he ended up taking it somewhere and letting a gunsmith do it, so it wasn't really what I was looking for. Maybe there's some out there I just didn't find. I just figured I'm going to go ahead and do this. I kind of did a pre-test. I haven't had them on there yet, but I kind of just went through the motions of what I had to do so I don't have to waste anybody's time here. There are two screws here on your rear sight. You notice that your rear sight is spring. There's a spring in there so that when you adjust your rear sight, it's always has a positive pressure upward. So there is a spring in there. Be careful you don't lose it. I almost did the first time I did this. There's a small screw. I'm going to see if I can get this in here. There's a small screw. It's on the left side if you're looking down the barrel, down the sight. And you do not need to remove that screw. I think, I didn't go ahead and do it, but I think that screw allows the whole rear sight to slide off of maybe some type of a rail type of system. And that part stays there. What you're going to replace is the springy part that goes up and down. And your you know, windage and distance adjustment here screw you're going to keep and reuse. And then this whole thing, there's a spring, this screw, it's pinned. Yeah, let me move it to the camera, sorry guys. It's pinned here, so that part is going to come off. This piece that stays on the gun. So let me show you how I went ahead and did that. Get this in camera. I'm doing this by myself, guys. I'm trying to make it quick. I don't have a lot of time. I know you guys don't have a lot of time. Just take your screw off, your adjustment. Careful, because you do have to reuse it. Okay. Now when you lift this up, that spring is going to be free to fall out of there. It should fall out of there. It did fall out of there. Yeah, it's pretty tiny. Really not something you want to lose. Alright, so don't lose it. Alright, so now I just had a very tiny Allen wrench that fit in there really well. For some reason, it seems to come out better from the left to the right. It's not a big deal to push it out of there. So, comes out of there. There's your pin. Save it. This is what you're replacing. This is what you're replacing right here. And you'll notice that it has a little, well, it has the hole for the screw. Not sure if you guys are going to see this. It has a hole for the screw that comes through, as you can see. And right behind that is the indented, it's not drilled through, but it's just, you know, partially drilled into the piece, and that's where the spring is going to sit, right in there. So my replacement is pretty much exactly the same way, except, of course, we have this green high visibility. They also have some markings for, you know, windage and whatchamacallit, yeah, distance, elevation, whatever the word is I'm trying to think of. Anyhow, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put this right back in there the same way. Put the pin right back in the same way it came out. Line up the hole, push it in. It's pressed fitting, nothing major. Just put something on there. If you have a little rubber mallet, wooden mallet, hard something that's not going to scratch it, and it's in there. Okay, now a lot of ways I guess you could do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my screwdriver and kind of wedge it into the spring without getting too crazy. And that's going to be my holder. And I'm going to take this, lift it up, ease it in there. Of course, I'm on camera, so this is probably going to get screwed up. And just make sure it sits in that hole. Springy is doing what it's supposed to do. And that's it. All I have left now is that screw I took out. Put it back in. And tighten it down. Now, of course, when I go to the range, this is going to have to be all readjusted. I had this thing zeroed in dead on. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to take it down a little bit like that. Still have your wind, I guess this is the windage one, but this is left to right adjustment. Same as the factory standard. It's just a small screw that's going to move your rear sight left and right. Of course, if you're off, if you're hitting right of the target, you want to move this to the right. That always gets me screwed up. That's it for the rear sight, okay? So there you go. There's your... Now the front is much easier, although on the front sight they must have some kind of serious Loctite that they put in here in the factory. It is, make sure you have a screwdriver that fits in there nice and tight. I've already broken this loose. You're not going to see that on camera because I wanted to make sure this went smoothly on film, because I know how things go when you're on camera. And that screw pops that off of there, okay? Now, I suppose I could clean this up a little bit. There is nothing really to keep this straight other than the, I guess there are some kind of serrations in there. It looks like they must have, it's just a plastic front. Well, no, it's not plastic either. It's metal. Maybe it digs in a little bit. There are some, I don't know if you can see it, but I could feel it. There are some grooves right there, and I'm guessing that might be what keeps it straight aligned. Anyhow, here's my new sight, and it's going to go right in the same spot. And the same screw that I took out goes right in there. By the way, I'm not using Loctite. This thing came out so good, and still has on the threads, the very tip of the threads, some of the goop there. I'll keep an eye on it. If I tend to see it backing off, I'll take it out and redo it. It's really not a big deal. I love shooting this gun. I absolutely love it. Out of all my guns, I don't know if it's, I guess it's a combination of the inexpensive to shoot and just dead on. It's just a lot of fun. Very little recoil. Just lots of fun. So there they are. Let's see if we can get this in camera and see it. Of course, I could use some contrast back here. And there you go. Not too shabby. Just got to get to the range and check it out. So that's it, guys. Enjoy. See ya.